What's up, everybody? It's not a fun day today. Like most of you probably already heard, we heard that we lost Traci Braxton to cancer. For me personally, and for I'm sure a lot of people out there, cancer hits a little differently because it's touched you and your family. Um, this is a hard one because she passed away at 50, guys, and 50 is so young. 50 is so young. And like for a lot of people, Traci was my favorite because she was the most relatable Braxton. Like you knew what you were getting with Traci. Um, I've been hearing a lot, I've seen a lot. I just think that when somebody passes, you don't necessarily need to point any fingers. Everybody's going through it. People make mistakes. What is positive about this situation is this lady was able to live out her dreams. This lady had a beautiful family. She had a husband, Kevin. She had a son, Kevin. And she had a grandbaby, Kevin. So, yes, 50 might be young, but Traci lived a full life. I don't know. I personally, I got her album. um, I liked it. I thought she could sing. It just feels like cancer is that one thing that we just cannot seem to fight fast enough. So many people, especially in the Black community, pass away from cancer. And it's one of those things where I lost a grandmother to cancer. By the time we figured out, or the doctors figured out what it was too late. And actually, I want to keep her picture up a little bit longer before I read to you what happened. I lost a grandmother to cancer. I know it's one of the most painful illnesses a person can go through, especially if it's caught in a late stage. So not only am I going to talk about Traci a little bit at the end, I'll talk about some of the cancer initiatives I'm a part of, including the Ronald McDonald House and the Susan Komen Race for a Cure. Because we're going to take this and we're gonna shed some light on what cancer does. But I want to get back to Traci. Most of you know Traci was on the Braxton Family Values with her sisters for many years. They pretty much owned the network that they were on. Uh, from the very beginning, Traci was the one that I felt was, again, the most relatable. She was funny. Her her spirit shone through the camera, you all. I'm not going to do this alone. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. I'm sure you guys have, you want to share your feelings as well. It's just a really sad day. Like I said, anybody who has experienced losing a loved one because of cancer, it really is a debilitating, painful illness. So let me tell you guys what happened. I think TMZ was the first to report, but the statement did come from her husband, Kevin. Let's see. That's Traci and her husband, Kevin. She passed away at 50. Traci's husband, Kevin Surratt, tells TMZ, "We have to come to a time we have come to a time where we must inform the public that after a year of privately undergoing a series of treatment for esophageal cancer, our beloved Traci Braxton has gone on to glory." TMZ says, "We're told Traci's sisters, moms, and friends were by her side when she passed." You guys, this is heartbreaking. Traci appeared on the family's reality show, Braxton Family Values. She was an actress best known for Sinners Wanted. She also appeared in There's a Stranger in My House and Chaw. She recorded a hit song, Last Call, that rose to number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100. She also recorded Broken Things featuring her sisters Tony, Tawanda, and Trina. You guys, this family has been through a lot. So not only did they lose Traci, they also lost Gabe, he also passed away from cancer. And more recently, the family lost their niece, Lauren. Um, Now, hers was not cancer, but she was still a 24-year-old girl, and that is a lot for a family to deal with. You guys, let's see. I wanted to show you guys just kind of like her family. I mean, it's you know, people pass away, but I think sometimes what people forget is sometimes you've lived a very full life. Look at this kid. This is her one and only grandson, Kevin. He's adorable, absolutely adorable. Um, and Traci didn't take things for granted. As a fan, I know that when the family decided that they didn't want to do the show anymore, Traci said, "No, I'm gonna collect my coins. I'm gonna team up with Phaedra, and I'm gonna keep like this lady lived a full life. She didn't get as much credit as she deserved." Let's see. Oh, Diva. Hey, Diva. Yeah, Gabe did also pass away from cancer. Let me go ahead and pin this link. If anybody, you are more than welcome to come up, share your personal stories. I can tell you that with my grandmother, she was one of those ladies who did not like to go to the hospital, didn't like to go to the doctor, and that's why we found out so late. Um, it was very painful towards the end, but much like the Braxtons, we were there by her side the entire time. Um, I got to give kudos because this story didn't get out. That meant that to some degree, her family was definitely there by her side. I mean, they said it had been like a year. So it wasn't anything new or sudden for them. It just, if her whole family was there as she passed, that probably meant so much to her to just be around love and support, especially when you're in pain. Um, I know somebody personally going through esophageal cancer, and from what they have expressed, it's painful. Sometimes you have to have surgeries in your throat, making it difficult to speak. It's just a really sad, sad day. I forgot to pin the link. Sorry, you guys. I'm a one-man show over here, so again, anybody is more than welcome to come up. I have pinned the link. What we're talking about for those of you who just came in is Traci Braxton passed away at 50 from esophageal cancer. It's been reported that her friends and family were there by her side through this. So I've heard a lot of people saying stuff about like, Tamar taking it the hardest. The thing is, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And I, in my heart of heart, want to believe that any of the stupid BS stuff that families go through, I hope that all of that was put to the side once they found out what Traci was going through. I'm going to be, while talking about Traci, letting you guys know about some cancer initiatives. One that is close to my heart is the Susan Komen. Are you ready? You ready? Okay. Hey, Diva, how's it going?
How are you? This is so sad. I commend all of y'all creators that are, giving her respects and coming up and talking about the subject is a very difficult subject. And as a nurse, I have seen so many times, like cancer is one of those mysteries, right? It's one of those things where they can never really tell like why you got it and where it came from. I did pediatric nursing traditionally, and a lot of times they want to say it's from what the person ate or what they, their surroundings or whatever. But what happens when a baby turns up with cancer? It's like how is this so? My condolences to the Braxton family, and it is super sad. I did also connect with Tracy when she was on their Braxton Family Values
Mhm.
reality show.
She shined
Um,
through, right? Like,
she
it was
signed
something about
through
her.
something about her, and it's so devastating because we did, even though we didn't know for sure, there was some sprinklings when that picture appeared of her at her son's wedding, and everybody saw the drastic weight loss.
Weight
They was
loss.
wondering like what was going on with Tracy. So of course, when you're a public figure and you're going through something so traumatic, you want to try to keep it private. um I just, I hope she didn't suffer much. And I'm glad that if she, was suffering, that she is no longer in any pain. And I think, like you said, she did live a very nice and full life. She got to see her only son get married. She got to see her gorgeous grandbaby, and she was married to her husband for years. I think I want to say at least 2 decades they were married, right? So she had a good marital life with her and her husband. In terms of the transition, a little bit, in terms of you being part of the Ronald McDonald House, I think a lot of people, they don't know until they know. But that is a very great foundation. Whoever thought of it, started it, God bless them, because a lot of families utilize the Ronald McDonald House when they have a family member that is in the hospital with cancer, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months. And so, what the Ronald McDonald House does is it gives them housing. It gives these families a place to stay,
Food.
somewhere to eat. All the food for the Ronald McDonald House is donated. It's kind of like a family style. They get to cook there, they get to sleep there. Because a lot of families, when someone in the family has cancer, they no longer have a two income household, right?
Right.
Because either the person that is sick can no longer work, or if it is their child that is sick, because their child is in and out of the hospital so much, one family member has to quit their job. And
Sometimes it's
so
both. Sometimes
sometimes
it's
it's
both.
both. Sometimes it's both. So foundations like this and efforts like this, like the Ronald McDonald House, it helps kind of alleviate the pressure of them maybe having to stay in a hotel across from where their loved one is in the hospital. Stuff like that. And like I said, they give food. There's so many foundations. Another good one is the Make a Wish Foundation. Until I started working in a hospital with children, I heard of Make a Wish, but I didn't realize
How much they
um,
did.
how much they did, and how much people care and they donate to these efforts. I mean, the Make a Wish Foundation, they really, if a kid says, I want to meet this celebrity, they go through everything possible to help that kid meet the celebrity. If the
Mhm.
kid said, I want to go to Disney, they not only send the people to Disney, but they give them like credit cards and debit cards with money on there, so that every expense that can happen while they're on this trip is covered and is paid for. And that's all through the donations and the efforts of caring people.
You made a really good point that I want to touch on because pictures were circulating about her weight loss. And I
Hmm.
really feel like between Chadwick,
Yeah.
Tracy, and anybody else who might be going through things in the media spotlight, if you see something like that, sometimes it's best not to comment on it because you never know what is going on in the person's household. Flat period. You never know. And I do remember that. Let me take this off. Sorry. I
Hmm.
do remember that picture circulated, and I never want to speculate. Guys, we have to stop doing that. They
Yeah.
talked cash money about Chadwick, and he was not only filming a movie, donating money, setting his family up for the rest of his future, he was passing away. So
Yeah.
that was a good point, Diva.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think as creators sometime, and none of us are perfect, right? It's like you see a story, you want to tell a story and you want to give your opinion on the story. But I do appreciate you saying that because you are absolutely correct. Sometimes we're jumping to conclusions about someone or a picture or whatever, and you don't know the battle behind what you see, right? So it's like they may be struggling a battle, and he is the ultimate. He's the ultimate picture, Chadwick. He was the ultimate picture of how to deal with something so devastating with grace. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't know how I would deal with if I just knew for a fact that maybe my demise was coming. Like that's a lot, a heavy load, and he still never gave up on life. He was still working. He was
Through the
not
end.
crying, "Woe is me." Um, it's very commendable. It's very commendable.
Princess says she had a close friend that stayed at the Ronald McDonald House, and let me tell you guys, on YouTube, I'm known to be silly and goofy. In my
Hmm.
real life, one of the things that my mom really instilled in us was giving back. And
Mm,
so, two things that are near and dear to my heart are the homeless, or it was three, sorry, homeless children and the elderly.
nice.
My mom was the one that got me going to the Ronald McDonald House and volunteering. That is difficult because the minute you see a child who is going through cancer treatment and they still are excited about something so small as like a toy truck. I remember I okay, it's bad, I know. I like sweets. So I would make sure to go and always bring some type of sweets. Now there everybody's talking about healthy, 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 and I can't tell you how many moms would just be like, give my baby the cookie.
Yeah.
It may not be for the best, but one cookie, and these to see like people's like these little kids' eyes light up for something so simple. It makes you realize that the stuff that you have going on as an
Mhm,
adult really doesn't it doesn't amount, it doesn't make doesn't so when they're talking about like the Tamar and the stuff from reality TV, the husband said the entire family was by
mhm,
this woman's side.
mhm.
And that means a lot.
100%. I think, in the real world, in real time, their stuff is put out there for the world because they have decided to do a reality TV show. But in the real world, we all have disagreements. Um, we all have a fight, so to speak, if you have siblings, cousins, family members, or whatever. But you get over it. And when something real happens, y'all all pack up your bag and go over there and,
Right.
you're by that person's side. So yeah, like no judgment. I think it's wonderful that her whole family was by her side and she transitioned knowing that she was definitely loved and and yes, she lived. If it was up to us, I always joke with my family, say if it was up to us, everybody would live to like their 100, 200 and just be walking around the world the whole time.
Right. Like I said, I lost my grandmother. She was like 94 to cancer. And she's one of those, she never got sick and she didn't like going to the doctor. We
Mm.
need to learn that if something hurts, at least get it checked out. How's it going, Autumn's mom?
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, Diva. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm sorry to meet under these circumstances. Um,
Mhm.
but Mims, I was sitting there listening to you talk. I swear you're like my brother from another mother when you started talking about your passions in life being the homeless, the elderly, and children. Those are the only people that can get away with anything in my world. Like I will bend over backwards and do whatever I can. I was also curious, you started to go into your work with the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And I know I've participated in lots of walks with them and fundraisers. So I was interested to see what you did with them as well.
That is it. Fundraisers at work, fundraisers. Well, I'm not really a member of the church that I used to be, but definitely fundraisers with that. We used to walk, and then we would get people to donate. Hey, I'm going to go for this walk. Can you give 10, 15, 20, 50, $100 and sponsor me in the walk? And then all the money would then go um, to the charity.
Yeah. And I think what a lot of that was lost on me, like the impact of how much just one person in your family getting sick, how it impacts the whole family. We know it, we hear it, but until you actually go through it, I had a real close friend of mine whose son, he became inflicted with cancer at an early age. I believe he was like 9 at the time. Well, she was a single parent to begin with. So now you got to take off of work and you got to, take your child to all these doctor's appointments. So now she's not getting paid regularly at work, the fundraisers, the GoFundMe, the things that was needed to keep her life as quote unquote normal as possible while you're still trying to pray and nurture and take care of your child. Just what it took for one family that I'm close to her, just to think of how many families are out there at any given time going through the same thing and how many people need help. That's why when we get bogged down in everyday life stuff and kind of have to snap back into reality kind of quickly and be like, a lot of people need our help and we can do more.
Yeah.
I'm still in shock. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Tracy. We'll catch you later. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for being here. It's just like an open forum. Again, guys, I know my channel is crazy. It's not always crazy, guys. Sometimes I just want to open forum to connect with people who may have experienced some of the same things that I experienced. Tracy was going through this for a year. My grandmother, she didn't last that long. But similar to what the Braxtons did, we made sure that there was not one day that woman was in the hospital by herself, not even 5 to 10 minutes. And if we were, she was calling us. Who's supposed to be here? Cancer is the worst, you guys. It's so painful. You don't even know.
And you said something very important about being there. That's, there's that proverb, right? It takes a village. And it really does, because I've seen parents that sat in a hospital that they couldn't leave. And it's not that their family didn't want to be there from them. All jobs, you got but so many vacation days. You got but so many understanding managers and supervisors, because you got to understand, they may sympathize and empathize with you, but they still also have a business to run. And so that's when it's good to just, even if you can after work, relieve that person for like 10, 15, 20 minutes. It helps, because it's like they're isolated and their whole life they're stuck in a hospital now, right? Especially like you said, Autumn, like she was already a single parent. So imagine being a single parent, dealing with all of this on your own and watching your baby go through this treatment, go through the pain, go through the sadness, and you just don't even know how to deal with your own emotions, let alone help your child get through it. I will say what I experienced, which is one of the most touching things about doing nursing and like working in a hospital. The children, it is amazing, like you said, Mims, how they are ill, but they end up changing your life, because they help you understand that, you know what, you may be home complaining about XYZ, and none of that is real in comparison when you no longer have your health. That's what's real. That's what matters. If you have health, you have wealth. And I don't care if you are the poorest person in the world living in a studio apartment. If you have health, you have wealth. You have everything, and you can rise up for there. You can have a ton of money, but you don't have your health, and it's not going to help you.
Right? I mean, and the stuff doesn't even matter. The stuff that we saw on TV, outside of her just being real and genuine, and the mama, she's pretty real and genuine too. It's fluff. It didn't matter. This woman was a 50-year-old woman who had a career. She had a husband. She had a son. She had a grandbaby. That is leading a full life. And I keep showing the pictures of the grandbaby because this little dude was cute.
No, he's a cutie pie.
Let me take this. Let me take Shaitan. I'll get back to your comment in a second. He was cute.
He got a little Tracy in him, don't he? When you look
He
at
looks
that
like Tracy. He looks like Tracy. So let me go back to this. That I was like, I can't do this without showing the beautiful life that she had. I did get mad at some things on the Braxton show in terms of how they treated her, but she didn't care. She kept right on going. They quit the show. She didn't. She said they weren't going to stop her coin.
She cared, but what she showed us is that happens every day in a lot of big families. That's
Mhm.
like reminds me a lot of the different things me and my sisters go through, especially when y'all are close in age and growing up. You have different qualities, and everybody has a different talent. Now, with them, they all had the same talent, but when everybody's trying to achieve different things, you may bump heads. The good thing about this that I was happy to hear was that her and Tamar did within the last year. They have become close and they reconciled, and things in their relationship had become better, and they have been together the whole time during her being sick. So I'm glad that that's at least something that won't have to weigh heavy on Tamar's heart going forward, because I always say it's not the dead you have to worry about, it's the living. And you have to be left with your conscience on how you treated that person that's no longer here. So prayers are out to the whole entire family. And we all know Tamar has other issues. I just hope that the love that they have for one another carries them through and it makes them closer.
Let me tell you, there's nothing worse for a parent,
Yeah.
Mm,
piggybacking off what you said, than to lose a child.
mm.
Like there's nothing. And at 50, Tracy was still Mama Braxton's child.
Yeah.
So,
They're always your babies. I don't
for
care.
those of you
I don't
guys
care
who
if you're
just came
90 and
in,
they 60. They're
for those
always
of
your
you guys who
babies.
just came in, I'm just gonna go back and read what happened. It's a very short statement from her actual husband. Let me put the picture up of her husband. He released a statement. Oh, well, now Tony did too. Let me read this one as well. Tony said, "It is with the utmost regret that we inform you of the passing of our sister Tracy. Needless to say," oh, let me put the Braxton picture up. Um, Needless to say, she was a bright light, a wonderful daughter, an amazing sister, a loving mother, wife, grandmother, and a respected performer. We will miss her dearly. Tracy passed this morning as the snow was falling. Our angel is now a snowflake.
Mm,
We ask that you respect our privacy as we plan to send her home with love, celebrating her life. We are a family forever. Love the entire Braxton family. Um, let's see. Tracy's husband, let me put that picture up. Tracy's husband said, "We have come to a time where we must inform the public that after a year of privately undergoing a series of treatment for esophageal cancer, our beloved Tracy has gone on to glory." So, for those of you who are just coming into the room, we lost Traci Braxton at the age of 50. But some of the positives with this was she was surrounded by her entire family, um, who were by her bedside as she passed. She is survived by her husband, Kevin, their son, Kevin, and her grandbaby, Kevin, which I gotta keep showing y'all this picture. He's just so cute to me. I want to get to Chi Town's comment. She says, "My mother passed of pancreatic cancer, and I was the last person." Sorry, let me take this picture off. And I was the last person that she spoke to. She knew that her time was then, so that last conversation was everything to me.
mm,
I'm really sorry for your loss, Chi Town. Chi Town she's one of my favorites.
mm,
Um, we talk because some things are going on with my mother, and Chi Town reaches out to me quite often to just sharing what she's going through and what I'm going through on a personal note outside of YouTube, and that's what matters. Just like it's outside of the Braxton family values, these women were actually family, and these women were
mm.
actually there for her as she passed.
My condolences, Chi Town.
My
Yeah.
condolences as well. And you know what? That's the actual gift. I actually was present the first time I was present when someone took their last breath was at the age of 9. And I didn't know then that it was going to be a theme that continued throughout my life, where most people would think that's something that would scare you. But it ended up, I am almost like the person that when everyone else is going home at the hospital at the end of the night, I volunteer to stay so that no one ever has to spend the night by themselves. So God forbid, if that is the last time they won't be alone. I have no problem with staying there, ushering in the spirit and ushering you home and making sure you have a peaceful transition. So if there's anything else you want to say, it doesn't go unheard by someone that you love. Um, and to me, that gives me comfort in knowing no one has to be alone. Now, COVID, that hit differently when you weren't allowed to be in the room with people. And when we started losing people, it hit differently because people had to pass alone. But if you have the opportunity to be there with someone, don't be afraid. It's something I think that you will cherish for the rest of your life. It's actually a gift.
Also, that is very similar to my
Mhm.
story. We have Evangelist Val. She says that um, her mom passed away of kidney cancer, and I was with her the last 6 months every day. It meant everything, guys. Yeah,
Mm.
don't take anything for granted. Definitely don't take any time for granted. If you know somebody's going through something, I think somebody said give somebody a hug today. Life is
Mhm.
too short. I
Yeah.
was gonna type this out, but anybody is welcome to come up if you want to talk about your feelings or how you felt about Tracy. It is more than welcome. If you have a personal experience with cancer, or someone that you were close to had a personal experience with cancer and you were there for them, you are more than welcome to come up and discuss that as well. Because what is this? What is YouTube if you can't actually reach out and connect with people on real stuff? This is
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
So
And it's a great topic because it goes into to us just making sure we do our preventative care by going to the doctor, and sometimes learning how to really, not in a bad way, but push with the doctor when internally you really feel something's not right, but they're telling you everything's okay. A lot of times we get diagnosed late, not because of lack of not going for care, but for lack of non-understanding by different practitioners that something is wrong, that we feel something is not right, and for them to keep digging until they find out what is wrong, so
That's
that we
true.
can get earlier treatment.
And to piggyback on what you said, I'm a huge advocate that I believe everybody should have a healthcare advocate for yourself. Appoint whoever that may be. It might be your husband, your daughter, your friend, your son, someone who knows what medications you are, your health history, and knows what your wishes are. So, God forbid, if you find yourself have to be hospitalized, you have someone else when you don't have the strength and don't have the energy to fight for yourself that knows what's going on with you and can push to get those answers and to advocate for your care because they will pay you no mind if they think that they can go without. And sometimes it's not intentional. Let me say this, there's a whole bunch of excellent healthcare professionals out there, but let's be realistic. They are overworked at this time. So if we can help them help us, why not do that?
100%.
I'm looking this up really quick. Um, as far as I know, she only has one grandchild and one son. So if you know of another grandbaby, please put the second grandbaby's name in the chat. The one that I shown, his name is Kevin. What does that make you when you're the third? Is it just Kevin the third?
Yes.
I think so.
But if you know of another grandbaby, let us know. This live is about Tracy. And I would love to look up and show that grandbaby as well.
He's a
Well, yeah,
cute.
Diva's a nurse, so Diva can definitely attest to the fact that they're overworked. Healthcare professionals are overworked, and a lot of them can't give people the time and attention that they would need. So it's always great to have a family member going to doctor's visits with you, going to the hospital should you be admitted and things of that nature.
Yeah, because
100%.
even when you're not overworked, if you ever just take the time, unfortunately, I've been hospitalized for some time in the past, and I've had time to sit there and talk to my caregivers. And when I found out, say, from my nurse, that her ratio was 17 patients to one, and that was considered an excellent ratio, and you have a home health attendant or the CNAs, and their ratio is like 2 of them to every 17. Okay, well now let's say you're on a ward, you have people here with all different conditions, from people that had strokes that need total care to people that might just need assistance going to the bathroom. How do you prioritize who gets help when? So the standards that they're working up against they suck to begin with. So if you just say what they're working with, what they say is acceptable, it's not acceptable. And it makes their job hard, and it makes your care even harder to receive.
Yeah.
Oh,
I,
I'm sorry, really quick, Diva. I just want to mention my condolences as well to you, Stillwaters. They say this hits close to home because my mom passed away from cancer, ovarian cancer. Again,
yeah,
very
my
My
sorry to hear that.
condolences.
condolences.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Diva?
Um, I think that the thing is you need the world to advocate for certain things, right? Because the patient nurse ratio, it varies from state to state. I will say this, from every state that I know of in the what did you call it? The when you're in like the for pediatrics, it was called like the NICU or the PICU, the ICU. For ICU patients, is usually a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So the is one nurse and it's two patients. But then when you go to med surg floors and different things like that, depending upon the state, depending upon the hospital, the patient ratio is different. That's what I loved about Peds. And the hospital I worked in, the most you would probably get is up to 5 patients, unless a nurse called out, then they would give you 7. But the thing I loved is that the parents were 9 times out of 10 always in the room. So it kind of
Mhm.
was like an extra help. If something was going on with the patient, they would at least ring the bell, right? But when you have a adult that is in the room by themselves and you have one nurse to 8 patients, 7 patients, or even higher, I know nursing homes, the patient ratio is extremely high, which
Yeah,
I think is a travesty because there is no way that you can really give each patient the individual care that they really deserve and need because it's just not humanly possible.
correct.
Really quickly, because I guess people are still coming into the room. Yes, Ms. Cartier White, Traci Braxton has passed away at the age of 50 to esophageal
Mhm.
cancer. Both Toni Braxton and her husband released statements confirming it. What we do know is that she passed away with with her entire family by her bedside. She survived by a husband, a son, and a grandbaby. But someone is saying that there was another grandbaby that was a stepchild. I can't
Mm.
find a picture. So if somebody can give
Mm.
me a name, I'll definitely post that. Hey, Callie. Hey, Evangelist.
Hi, Callie.
Hi. Hi. I just wanted to just say that I really like Tracy on the show. I found her super funny and entertaining, and she was very inspiring to me, and she should be inspiring to other people that she was able to go out after she was in her 40s, already had a grown child, and decided to go out and live her dreams. Like that was amazing that she never let someone saying, "Oh, you're too old" or whatever stop her. So she was able to still pursue her career, and I felt like she had an amazing life. I wish that she had more time, but as you guys know, I believe that death is this transition. So I don't see someone who has transitioned as being gone. They're just in a different state, and they've gone on to a different stage of their life.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, my father passed a little over a year ago. We were extremely close. I lived with my dad. I took care of my dad. I can only imagine how her family feels. And also, with her grandson being so small, they probably were in some level like kind of dependent on her as being the grandmother, like, spending time with the baby as well. So, so now she's not going to be there. So that's kind of like I'm sure that's a huge hole for them. But at the same
Mm.
time, she was ill and she's moved on. Like she's in a better state now. Um, but it's still really sad. I never anticipated that we would be having this conversation, like watching the Braxtons over the years, that Tracy would have transitioned at 50, but I don't know. It's just so overwhelming.
Right.
I can't. Somebody said that her son released a statement. If you could let me know where to find the statement, we'll definitely read that. But I can't seem to find it.
I
Hey
believe
Val,
that
how's it
it
going?
might
Again,
be
sorry for your.
on.
I'm sorry.
It might be on either TMZ or B Sky. I did see it this morning. Her son and her husband have the same name, so I think that sometimes people are getting confused. But I believe it is the
Oh yeah, that
son
makes sense. I
that
know her.
that
The
that
statement I did read was
released
from
the
her husband.
statement. Yeah.
Hmm. Hey Val, again, sorry for your loss.
Oh, that's okay, hon. I was actually I had a couple of things. My mom passed away probably it's been about 18 months ago. And right before my mom got sick, well, before she got really sick, my oldest brother was diagnosed with colon cancer. And I remember my mom praying and saying to God, I can't watch my son die. I can't watch my son die. So it was so strange when my mom was diagnosed because it was almost to me in my mind, I'm the oldest girl, second oldest girl. And I remember but my mom had made me her power of attorney and all of those things. But I remember thinking to myself, she had literally prayed to go before him almost. And so as she started to decline, I was in a position to be there with her every day. And so I was with her every single day. And she had actually flatlined at one point during a procedure, and they were able to bring her back. And when she came back, she like literally came back like all the way back, and she was, doing really well. And she wanted to see all of her grandkids, and we brought all the grandkids in, and she talked to them, and she told them everything she wanted to tell them. And um, it was a really beautiful moment. But that next day, she literally declined, and within like 28 hours, she was, gone. And then my brother lived a whole 9 months, and then he passed away in September of 2021 of colon cancer. And so it's been like within the last 2 years, I've seen the loss of cancer and how it impacts families and children and grandchildren. And it's hard. It's a hard thing because cancer just eats you up. It you can be so full and so full of life one moment, and then it just deteriorates you and it takes away from you so quickly. And when I saw that about Tracy, it hits home if you've ever dealt with cancer in your family. And I feel like everybody in the world now has dealt with that. And
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking. But you said something, Mims, that I wanted to touch on too, about Chi-Town, if she's still out there. I just want to say this. I deal with my own illness. Um, I have multiple sclerosis and some other things. And I would like to say to Chi-Town that she really is a wonderful soul. She has always made it a point to reach out and remind me to take care of myself and to put myself first and to remember that nothing is as important as my health and my family, because sometimes you can get so consumed with the world that you forget to take care of yourself. And I think that when we talk about Tracy, we automatically think of the Tracy that's on television, but we have to remember that she was a mother, she was a grandmother, she was a whole person, and not just a personality, but a whole person. And I think for some of us, we have to remember that we are people and we have these lives and these people that love us outside of anything else that's going on. And we have to take care of ourselves. And like somebody said, I have a power of attorney, I have a living will, I have all of those things in case the day comes when I cannot speak for myself. And I have gone through that where I was in a coma and, my husband had to speak for me and take care of things for me. And those things are so very important, you all, because you just never know when that's going to happen in your life. You can be feeling perfectly fine, but then all of a sudden you cannot speak for yourself. And you want to make sure that those things are in place so that decisions can be made that you want to be made. You don't,
Definitely.
not that somebody else wants, but the things that you want to be made. And so I love that whenever Mims has these kind of conversations because they're necessary. And I just want to, tell Mims I love you. I appreciate you. And I think this is a great conversation. And God bless everybody. And just stay in touch with your spirit and go to the doctor when you don't feel well. um, Ask all the questions you possibly can. Be proactive in your health. If it doesn't feel right, tell them it doesn't feel right. When they try to brush you off, tell them it doesn't feel right. You are the best advocate for you. Stay on top of it. It took me probably 4 or 5 years before I actually got diagnosed with MS. And by then I was declining in my health. So you have to stay on top of it. And I just kind of wanted to chime in on that and let you guys know, that we all are in touch with the same things. That's kind of why I say we all are so connected because we deal with so much of the same stuff.
Cancer has
So
touched a lot of
yeah,
people, definitely.
yeah, yeah. So I'm
Um,
gonna drop down, but I just wanted to share that.
well, thank you.
Thank you
I
for sharing
appreciate
your
you sharing your
story.
story. And she
Yeah,
made a lot of valid points, you guys. If you're feeling anything and, maybe the first doctor doesn't see it, get a second
right.
opinion.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I did get the statement from the Sun. If you're just coming in, we're talking about Traci Braxton. She passed away at the age of 50 from esophageal cancer. I've read the statements from Tony. It looks like all of the sisters are releasing the same statement that I read from Tony. Her son says, "When I heard the news about my mother being sick, first thing she said was, 'I'm gonna fight and beat this.'" And so he posted this. Sorry, can you see it? It's just him and her. Um, he posted that picture of them, and then people, like Candy, are saying, "We're praying for you and your family." She is survived, you guys, by a husband, a son, a grandson, and a step grandchild. We're still trying to get the pictures of the grandchild just to update everybody. Traci Braxton has passed away from cancer. This was her husband, Kevin. This was her son, Kevin. And this little cute dude
Mhm.
was her grandbaby, Kevin. In the chat, I'm trying to get to it. It's moving pretty fast, but I want to say congratulations on beating cancer, Ashley B. Um,
Amen.
Congratulations.
and your mother is still battling it. We can all send her positive energy right now. She says
Amen.
she's so sad that Traci is gone. I did see somebody else mention, I think Dion. Dion says, "I lost my mom to cancer almost 2 years ago. My heart goes out to her son, husband, and the Braxton family." We're sorry for your loss, Dion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Val, I don't know if it was Val or Diva, but somebody said that cancer has touched one of all of us. Somebody has been touched by cancer, and that is a very true statement.
Yeah.
And we're still fighting it. A
Yeah,
little bit
I
earlier,
recently,
I talked about ways that you can help the cause, not just by donating your time. Um, I mentioned Susan Komen Foundation. A lot of people know she does the Race for the Cure, where you can either donate or walk. You can have people sponsor you in the walk. A lot of times you'll see a lot of people wearing pink t-shirts. That's the Susan
mhm,
Komen Foundation. Another way, if you have the stomach for it, because I'm not gonna lie, when I volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House, that took a lot out of me. Seeing kids and their families who are going through that, it's a lot. Not everybody. I didn't necessarily have the wherewithal to keep going that route. It's a lot, but if you have it and you have the stomach for it, I suggest going to the Ronald McDonald House. Even bringing the kids toys around Christmas. They take donations right at the door. Um,
Right.
we're just we're not only talking about Traci, we're talking about people's experiences with cancer. We're talking
Mhm.
about real life. We're talking about how to move that conversation forward because there's so much you can do to help out, and so many people are going through it. So we want to say rest in peace again to Traci. 50 is very young to pass away these days, but we are very grateful that she was there and surrounded by the entire Braxton family, and especially her mom. We talked about how a mother losing their child is one of the hardest things that you could deal with. And our hearts and prayers go out to the entire Braxton family. You were saying something, Callie?
Oh no, I was just saying that I had actually recently met a girl who is 24 years old who has terminal cancer, and she had a very bad reaction to the chemo. So essentially, she's probably going to pass away very soon. And just kind of holding on to for me, I know we all have different beliefs, but this idea that when people pass away, they're just gone and they just it's not. I'm gonna just tell you, for me, for how I feel in my experiences, what I've had a lot of people around me pass away recently. I don't feel that those people are just gone forever. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that just adds any comfort to anyone who might be terminally sick or have a relative that's terminally sick. But death is not final.
Also, on another note, there's also some other things that we can do um, while you're still alive, or that can help other people out. As far as, think about organ donation. You you can donate different things alive or post mortem, so you don't have to think that you have to have passed away in order for to be useful to someone else. Especially us in the African American community, there's a lot of things and a lot of diseases that like you said, we don't go to the doctor, and don't we're not too big on research and testing and this, that, and the third. So you're not going to make guinea pigs out of us. That much you're not going to do. But with that being said, under the right circumstances, you can help someone else by becoming a blood donor or becoming other kind of donations that can save someone's life.
Yes, definitely. My life was actually
Yeah.
saved by a blood transfusion. So yes,
Yeah.
Hmm.
definitely, that is a great point. Yeah, I will.
Oh, and we talked a little bit earlier because I know a lot of people have come in. The Braxton family has been hit with a lot of tragedy. If you guys don't remember, they lost Gabe to
Yeah.
cancer. I think it was 2018. And then they lost a niece. I'm not going to disclose what happened to her, but they lost a niece at the age of 24. Her name was Lauren. So the Braxtons have been going through it.
And Tracy
I
took
believe she
Lauren's
had.
heart.
Um,
Uh,
yeah,
Tracy
I was
took
gonna say, I believe
Lauren's.
she had chronic health problems.
Who,
The
Lauren?
niece.
Well,
Yeah.
no, Lauren.
I don't
Lauren
want to.
is
I don't want to
like, I
discuss
won't go
how
into
Lauren
that.
passed.
But all
I
I
don't want
wanted
to.
to say
Okay.
is,
I
I,
don't want to
I don't
discuss
know.
it.
I just
but
know what I heard, that she had health issues. So
I
okay.
mean, I've
what I
read
did
stuff.
want
I
to
don't.
say,
I don't want to discuss it because she did not have cancer, but at 24, they lost. Their niece.
A lot
right.
of
The only thing I
tragedy.
wanted to say about Lauren's passing was that Tracy took Lauren's death especially hard because she
Yeah.
was the one in Maryland and she helped her brother raise Lauren. So on one of the episodes that came out after Lauren had passed, she said she felt as though Lauren was a daughter to her. She felt as though she had lost her child. So she was grieving the loss of her niece especially hard. That's all I want to say about Lauren.
Yeah. I do remember that. I mean, again, when we look at Tracy, Tracy was going to be the fun one. Tracy was going to be the one that was always happy. Tracy was going to be the one cracking a joke. Tracy was going to be the one that was there for all of her sisters. I think we can all agree on that. No matter what happened or what they might have said about Tracy, Tracy was going to be there. And I think she was like, Tony was the star, but it was almost like Tracy was the star of the show. Tamar too, a little bit. We're gonna give Tamar a little bit of that. But Tracy was the heart of the show, and Tracy was the one that you believed was not putting on for the cameras.
Right.
Yeah. Well, actually, Tamar said some really nice things about Tracy recently when she was on Dish Nation, co-hosting. So I think that they were fine after that show ended. I think a lot of that stuff was for the show.
the picture of Tracy. Sure, I'll put that. This show is about Tracy. She looked good. She
Yes,
looked
she
good.
did.
She did.
And
It's a
she looked
really
like
nice
her mom in
picture.
this picture.
She does.
She looks like her
Well, she
mom in this
looks the
picture.
most like Miss E to me. She looks like the most like her mom.
And I just can't get enough of this kid. Kevin. This,
You
for
want to
those of you
go
guys
snatch
just
him
coming in, this
up.
is Tracy's grandbaby, Kevin.
It's a cute picture.
This is too cute.
And they gave her husband a lot, but I think the son was 23. I don't know, were they married the entire 23 years?
Yes.
I want to say
Yeah.
yes too.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they got married like a year before she had the son. So I think they were married 20-some years.
Tony might have been the star of the show, but Tracy was the heart of the show. And I know a lot of people that watched for Tracy and her antics. And I like towards the end when Tracy stopped taking their crap on the show. Tracy had enough, and
She's
she
like,
was
that's
standing
it.
up for herself.
I actually liked the backdoor pilot that they did with her and Phaedra. I like that. I thought that was a cute little show. I wish that they would have kept going with that. But now that we know the situation, we don't really know when Tracy first became sick. So that could have had a factor. We'll never know.
I think
But I
Tracy
actually
pulled the
did like
power
the show.
move because they thought that without Tamar and Tony
Yeah.
leading the way on that they couldn't have a show. And Tracy said, "You know what? Y'all got all these other sources of income. I got this show." Because I think she was a hairdresser, right? I think she was a hairdresser before they got the show.
No, I think that she had like a corporate job and she wanted to go back and be a hairdresser because that's what she wanted to do before. So that kind of felt like that was a bit of a storyline.
I think I swear I thought that she was a
Tracy saying that she
hairdresser.
had worked at a company for like 12 years. So I think she had a corporate job.
But I feel like Tracy, no matter what they said about the woman, she made a power move because they ended the show and they thought that they could negotiate without her. And she brought on Phaedra, had a whole show. And then what happened? They came back because they knew that she could keep that up.
And she started doing morning radio in the DC area. She was on the radio out there. Yeah.
I had no idea. So she was actually a DJ too?
You know, like one of those VJs or whatever. Yeah, on one of the morning shows.
See?
That came out.
Well,
that was during the last season when the girls checked out. She had gotten her manager got her a job back.
Yeah, you're right.
I
remember
Mims, I'm sorry, Mims, I'm going to drop down and let you all continue to talk.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Evangelist Val. You know, you're always welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Yeah, they always tried to make Tracy the underdog. That was, if I know anything, I know business. And for Tracy to go and get Phaedra on their network and do a whole season of a show and that show be successful, and the rest of them had to come back with the tail between their legs and go back to the normal Braxton family value thing. That woman was smart.
She was
smart, and we talked about it because I know there's a lot of people that are new in here, so I just have to keep letting people know Traci Braxton did pass away at the age of 50 from esophageal cancer. She was survived by her husband, Kevin, her son Kevin, and her grandbaby Kevin, and a step grandchild that we're still trying to get the name for so that we can show you guys. She passed away with all of her family surrounding her in love. It's important to say that because stuff has been going all around about who from her family may not have gotten along. None of it matters. She was on good terms with her entire family who was there for her by her bedside. We have allowed anybody to come up and speak if they wanted to talk about how they felt about Tracy, if they had anything to say in regards to cancer or being a surviving member of cancer. You guys are more than welcome. If not, we're going to probably go ahead and end this live within the next couple minutes. I just wanted to say there's a lot of ways to let people know they're important, but probably the simplest way is I love you. A hug, being there for somebody, and just realizing that life is short.
Yeah.
Lead a full life like Traci. She led a full life. At 50, she had businesses, she had a family, she had, you know, apparently based on this outpouring of support, the woman was loved.
And she had integrity.
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's
Mhm.
another reason why people are coming here to give their outpouring of condolences for her, because she was able to be in the reality TV world. And although the show at time got messy, if we look back at her role on the show, she still came through it with dignity all the way to the end, grace and dignity and love. And
Mhm.
there was entertainment there, but at the end of the day, she didn't do anything to embarrass herself or her family. So kudos to her. That's a beautiful gift to be able to leave your legacy like that in film for your family to be able to look at for generations to come.
100%.
But guys, if nobody else wants to come up and share a cancer story, I want to thank everybody for coming up on the panel. I'm going to end this with giving the statements from Tony and the rest of the Braxton sisters and the husband. The Braxton sisters say, "It is with our utmost regret that we inform you of the passing of our sister Traci. Needless to say, she was a bright light, a wonderful daughter, an amazing sister, a loving mother, wife, grandmother, and a respected performer. We will miss her dearly. Traci passed this morning as the snow was falling. Our angel is now a snowflake. We ask that you respect our privacy as we plan to send her home with love, celebrating her life. We are a family forever. Love, the Braxton family." And then her husband says, "We have come to a time where we must inform the public that after a year of privately undergoing a series of treatment for esophageal cancer, our beloved Traci Braxton has gone on to glory." So that was from her husband and from the entire Braxton family. Um, just to quickly summarize, we have seen a lot of people in the chat and on the panel talk about their personal experiences with cancer. It is very important to know cancer can hit anybody. It doesn't matter age, sex. I do know, and Diva, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they're saying that African American people have a higher rate for certain cancers. Is that true?
It is true. We have a higher mortality rate too, because for some unfortunate reason, we are diagnosed later, which is very sad.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what
don't know,
happened with the particular young
that,
lady that I
yeah,
met.
yeah, we're diagnosed later. I don't know if I can't say the reason, so I don't even want to speculate or whatever the case may be. But a lot of us are diagnosed in the late stage of cancer when it has already wreaked so much havoc on our body. And that's why it's important that we all do our preventative care. Go to the doctors, for your if you're a female, go for your mammograms, go for your pap smears, go for your preventative care. Because at the very least, in your regular blood work, at the very least, if something is beginning to happen, they can see it early on, and you have a better chance of survival.
All
Yeah,
right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead
definitely.
and end it here. Again, rest in peace to Traci. Thank
Yeah.
you for everybody who shared their story on the panel and in the chat. And anything else? Anybody?
No, I
Thanks for
just want to
having
say,
me.
live your dreams like Traci did. Traci is like such should be like such a huge inspiration. If anybody is watching this and they think, "Oh, I'm too old to go out and do blah 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 blah," no, you're not. I mean, even though unfortunately she's gone, like as Mim said, she lived an amazing life, and she did not let things stop her.
All right. Well, guys, thank you. Thank you for being here. Hopefully next time it'll be under better circumstances. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.